In the tradition of Bauhaus and the Ulm school that I was referring to before, where design was not considered a specialized deal, like you're only an interior designer, or you're only a car designer, or you're only a product designer. Mr. Porsche always thought when you're a designer, when you're a creative person, you can design anything from a coffee cup to a housing estate. And I use these two examples out of our range of work that we do at the moment. We still do the same. We're working on anything from coffee makers to real estate projects like this one that we're doing in Florida. We have kitchens. The first kitchen for men. It's the Porsche Design kitchen. This is also one of the most important, expensive kitchens in the world. I'm often asked, how much is the kitchen? And I say, well, if you look at the Cayenne range, that's about the kitchen. You can start at about, 50, 60,000 euros, and then you can. There is no limit to the top. It's a very nice kitchen. It has Miele appliances, which is also top quality machinery. And the idea of this kitchen was to create an aluminum frame that allows you to hang all the components into this frame as you like, and all the electricity, including connectivity to monitors and so on, is all inside this frame. So I said I'm going to come back to watch design. Why? Because watches have been a very important element in the Porsche design history, because the first project he ever did in his new company in 1972 was a watch. And it wasn't just a watch, it was the first black watch that ever occurred in the market. And it kind of shocked the watch market a little bit, because they said, what's going on here? But it was the answer why the watch is black is very simple. And it goes back to the sentence that I showed you before. You look at it, you talk about what is the product going to do, and you come to the conclusion what it needs to look like. So he never looked at watches as jewelry. He looked at it as an instrument of precision. Then he looked at a Porsche race car, and he saw the dashboard, and everything in a Porsche race car and any race car is black, so the driver is not distracted by reflections. You just read the instrument, and that's why this watch is black all around, and it has a dial with a high contrast information, and just the indicator for the seconds is red. That's the only thing. So it's quite easy to understand why he made the watch black, and as we know today, a lot of companies have followed this example, and you can almost get a black watch from every watch company in the meantime. Second big step in watch design was titanium as a material. No one had ever used titanium. Why? It was very difficult to work with, it was tough, and it was expensive. But for his understanding, this was the perfect material, because it gave you a full metal watch with the what do you call it, the durability of steel, but the weight of aluminum almost. And so this was the perfect material, apart from the fact that later on people learned that titanium is basically the only metal that doesn't affect human skin or the human body in any way. That's why a lot of implants are made from titanium too. So in the meantime, we have quite a nice lineup of watches. You see the dashboard line at the top, then the diver, the world timer, and the indicator Rattrapante. And I just want to talk a little bit about the design process to use. Starts with sketches, light little hand sketches like these. Then it becomes a little bit more precise as you go into the dial design and so on. And then, of course, in these days, we go into a computer very quickly. We model a watch in 3D, so we can really understand how the kinematics are working. I use the example of the diver here with the cradle and then the fold-out watch housing. Then, of course, the dial design makes a big change on the watch, so this is something that wants to be done very carefully. This is the diver dial, but before we settle on something, as you can see in this picture, computer programs allow us to go through many, many design ideas before we finally come to the final product. And you can see on this picture, even though the light conditions here due to this beautiful day out here are not perfect, but you can see that we can render these products as a computer model so perfectly that we can really say, okay, now it's worthwhile going into production and actually do the first prototype. The next thing that we have to take into account, of course, is the movement. This is the movement see, if you take the watch housing away, you see this disc with all the locations and the different numbers on it for the time. And when it's in the watch, it looks like this. I personally like this gold world timer very much because it's a very untypical golden watch. Normally golden watches are polished and a little bit round and all of this. Now this watch has a look that almost suggests it's been a machined housing. You know, it looks very geometrical. And in combination with the material gold, it gives it a very new and different feeling. So these are some of the products we do for Porsche Design.